I don't think the intent originally is to smash and go. I think the intent, for the most part, let me say it that way. Some of them are just smash and go. I think the intent at the onset is to find out about this chick and to see if you're compatible. And when you're not, it looks like a smash and go because she gave up them cookies. You snacked on
Oh
them
my God.
cookies and you
Listen,
kept on
I
going.
wish, I wish. So JR gave JR a clip from that same one, and I wanted to talk about it Friday yesterday, but for whatever reason he didn't play that clip. So we gotta bring him because I was talking about that the compatibility part. Do you know that in this clip they mentioned compatibility, and there were guys in the chat like didn't even know what like what's that? That's just an excuse, and I'm like, maybe compatibility is the reason why divorce rate's so high because y'all don't think compatibility exists. Like what?
I think for guys it looks different. It's more like compatibility with my program. So when you hear the phrase, "If she got to get on my program," I that's what they're talking about.
What
And
is still compatibility, right? Y'all gotta have the same
yeah,
vision, right?
she, I don't know if we got to have the same vision. She just got to be able to do what I need her
You
to
gotta be able to
do,
do your
so
vision.
we can move the way we need to move.
Right. So she's got to be a part of your program. So if compatibility is I'm looking for a certain woman who's going to be on my program, and if you're not going to fit that or you're not down for it, we're not compatible. It's just not going to work. That's I agree. That's
No, no,
compatibility.
and it's funny to me. So some of the dudes that be in these chats and in these spaces, no disrespect to the chat, y'all be on that bullshit. Y'all say just the most random things that because a guy don't agree with you. You call a dude a simp and a female a hyena because they don't agree with you. The truth of the matter is we all have different visions and different purposes. And we're all trying to move in our vision and in our purpose. That's not to move the way you want us to move. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't think that many people I see in these spaces would be able to serve the needs that my wife needs served. Just like I don't think I'd be able to serve the needs that their wives need served. We all need different shit. So
Mhm.
I think we as guys, we need to start being a bit more selective in the poom poom that we that we bring to our homes. Because we know these chicks is never mind. I'm gonna be quiet. I was about to say something and Shan know I love her.
But Shan, like, why are you? Were you surprised by the comment that I made in comparison to the sort of sexual activity versus the cooking aspect and knowing how to do one better than the other? Are
No,
you
because I agree with
surprised
your
that
comment.
it,
I agree
like
with that.
like but see, like, this is how we need to kind of undo and unravel whatever that mindset and that mind frame is in order to ensure that the next group of individuals, young people that come through, have a better footing in understanding of how the value relationships and what are the foundational pillars of that, right?
Yeah.
Because there used to be that saying that the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Now I would argue that the philosophy is like the best way through a man through a man's heart is through,
The baby,
other,
baby.
fallacies, right? And it's unfortunate that it has really come to that. But I also think that women also have to play a part. You know what I'm saying? Women who are mothers, who are raising their children. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying? They're young girls who play a part in that conversation. The auntie, the rich auntie, right?
And let me say this too. So you're gonna always have trifling people in the world, right? It's gonna be a handful that's trifling, but we gotta stop doing is giving them attention. That's what we gotta stop doing. We gotta stop praising them. And I saw I don't know, you seen Saida's psychology. She made a reel, and she said there are a lot of great women in the world, but they're being overlooked like great men, right? Because people want that, you know, that woman who's now what they want her for is absolutely different. But if you're seeing that person getting told a whole lot of attention, you're gonna think if I'm not getting attention, I'm doing everything right, then she must be doing, I need to be more like her, right?
Yeah,
And so I think that, but I do agree that goes with the values in the household for both the young men and the women about what we should be valuing and what we should be putting on a pedestal. It has to start in the household. But unfortunately, sometimes the parents be thinking like that. Like they be on the
no,
same.
yeah, and also too, I think it's. But see, this is the thing about it too. Parents, first and foremost, for full transparency, I am not a parent, and sort of I say that with a disclaimer. I simply look back and reflect on my childhood and my upbringing and the things that were instilled in me, right? As a conversational point. I think today parents need to have way more parental control over everything. And when I say
Mhm.
everything, I mean everything, down
Sure.
to what their children are reading, what their children are watching, what their children are consuming, what their children are subscribing to, what their children are wearing, and what their children value as a social normality, an acceptable social normality, right? Unfortunately,
Mhm.
what I tend to see when I what unfortunately what I tend to see when I'm traveling either through the airport or state to state, or I go to venues or events, or I go to family gathering, because the child is acting in a particular type of way, the parent
Mhm.
picks up their phone that has anything, everything
Mhm.
on it, and just gives it to the child and say, "Here you go. Be quiet. Let me enjoy my day or evening. Do not talk. Just be on the phone. Watch videos." But they never really supervise what they're consuming. And sort of for young boys who are unfortunately growing up in that culture mindset, in that environment where they're hit with 1,500 images per day, right?
Mhm.
Of very, what I'm saying? Like sex is everywhere. Today more than ever. It's in commercials, it's in TV shows, it's in movies, it's in cartoons, it's in magazines, it's in the papers, it's on billboards. You know what I'm saying? It's literally everywhere. And sort of what are you expecting a young man who's becoming a young man who's developing into his younghood, right? Into a boy and into manhood. What are you expecting by doing these things, right? Imagine imagine putting small pieces of steak along the trail to a hungry tiger. What the hell you think he's gonna do? He's gonna follow that trail all the way to the end.